Because of that, cement is brittle and is not viable to be the main frame. That is why construction of buildings are made with concrete. Concrete is also simply cement, but with aggregates, as said earlier. Aggregates are any compacted loose materials such as sand, gravel, mixed to cement. To sum it all up, concrete is just compact aggregates bound together by the adhesive cement. Moving on to our next related literature, pili. Now, the pili nut, I have found quite a lot of, the researcher has found quite a lot of extensive research related to the nut. From its fruit to the peel and the shell, it is filled with various potential to research. One in particular, which is the inspiration of this study, is the study of pili shell ash as admixture, its effect on the mechanical strength of subgrade soil. Excuse me. By Jennifer L. Camino, 2017. The study explores if pili nut shell ash would exhibit any effects on subgrade soil or the soil. Subgrade soil is basically the soil where roads are paved on. It may not sound climactic, but basically these are also a sort of foundation in which roads are paved. So roads are not just paved to a certain amount of land, but the land that is paved on is also tested for capability. The mechanical strength was tested using the California bearing ratio test, in which a plunger of standard size is a steel plunger of around 50 millimeters is used to penetrate soil in order to measure the pressure required to penetrate. 50 millimeters is referring to the diameter of the plunger. The test is usually done in 0.1 or 0.2 inch dives. The higher the resultant ratio, the harder the surface is. It was found that in a study that 15% of pili shell ash and 85% soil, that is from a constant of 500 grams, had the highest ratio, so that may be used as guiding creating variables for the methodology of this study. Now moving on to the mathematical side of our study, mechanical strengths. Compressive strength is how much force a material can sustain before ultimate failure. Although that is the basis of all these, compressive strength is basically the amount of force applied on a certain amount of area by compression. You may have seen videos of hydraulic jacks using this to basically compress materials, and it's calculated by force over area, the amount of load applied to a certain area, and it's measured in pascals. That is why I said earlier that concrete has the compressive strength of 33 megapascals. Moving on, splitting tensile strength. This is not a mainstream property of materials, but it is used in calculating the strengths of concrete, cement, and whatnot. Splitting tensile strength is calculated by applying a diametric load along the entire length of the sample. The samples are mostly cylindrical, as it presents a representative value because a circle has the same diameter at any given point. This is calculated by dividing the maximum load divided by the appropriate geometric dimensions. In this case, we have 2p, which is the maximum load applied, divided by the quantity of pi times diameter times length. Lastly, flexural strength, which is probably, quite possibly, what we would use in the methodology for most of it, because flexural strength is for unreinforced materials, that the previous strengths are used in reinforced materials. Now, in such a way that we don't have the capabilities of having reinforcing such our variables, we will stick to the flexural strength test. Now, what is the flexural strength test? Now, flexural strength is simply the tensile strength that is measured by placing the slab on top of two supports such that the center has space between the surface below. Then load is applied in the middle until ultimate failure. Formula is thrice the quantity of force multiplied by the length divided by the quantity of twice the width and multiplied by the square of the height. Now there might be more of this later on in the methodology. Stick for that. These are the diagrams of our mechanical strengths. To have a little bit more of context, as you can see, compressive strength, the force is applied downwards in order to compress the material. Splitting tensile strength, there is a load applied. As you can see, there are two loads. Is also somewhat related to compressive strength, but basically, because of those loads, there is a pressure point in which it splits in half. Now, flexural strength test is the as you can see, it is a rectangular slab, and at a certain amount, it will break. Moving on to the methodology. The methodology is quantitative in nature. The purpose of the study is to examine the effect of peeling nutshell ash to the mechanical strength of concrete. The effects will be determined through various stress tests at varying day intervals. The research shall be carried out locally at home and may take more than a month to conduct tests. According to our Gantt chart, it may take 2 months. Now, the research design, as I said, it is a quantitative experimental methodology because it requires physical and calculable means. The time frame perhaps may take more than a month. Like I've said, the Gantt chart said it may take 2 months because in testing materials such as concrete, we would need different tests, such as there is a test that spans 3 days, 7 days, and 20 days of curing. Curing is where the cement hardens. Now, the control variables for this shall be the amount of water mixed with the cement, in such that there shall be a 0.4 ratio. For every 1 kilogram of cement, there are 400 grams of water. Another variable shall be duration of curing under the sun. Now, this is explained in our limitations that varying changes in weather conditions leads to varying temperatures that may result in variability. As such, multiple replicas will be sampled to be averaged to account the variability. Statistics. Moving on to the processes or protocols, the charring and grinding of peanut shells will require peanut shells. 5 kilograms of peanut shells shall be procured. The shells will be crushed and blended into fine pieces, but caution have to be burned because we would not like our materials to be reduced. The peanut shells shall be charred in a furnace until ash. The remaining product will be ready to be accounted for more future procurement. This will be our independent variable. In the preparation of cement, there shall be 4 experimental units for each of the 3 tests. 5%, 10%, 15%, 20% with the control not containing any peanut shell ash. So there might be 5. Yes, there are 5 units. There shall be 3 replicates. So all in all, there will be 45 samples, with 9 of those being the control. Preparation of 3 molds shall be first priority, or since, like I said, the previous compressive and splitting tensile strength tests may be, due to the pandemic, quite a challenge, we will focus on the flexural strength test. For the splitting tensile strength test, it will be 10 cm. For the compressive, it will be a 10 by 10 by 10 cube. And then for the flexural strength test, it will be a 20 by 10 by 5 rectangular prism. All of these are measured in centimeters. Now for the stress test, as said in the instructions, for complicated processes, you would add references only. The American Society of Testing Materials and Methods have explained how the tests are conducted, and that would be our basis for our methodology. Moving on to the last segment of our study, the risk management. There are not many risks in considering the study, but there are still, such as burning and smoke inhalation, thus the requirement of wearing appropriate PPE such as gloves, glasses, etc. Now, other hazards may be like the cement when being carried may be dropped, resulting to injury, but that can be mitigated. and whatnot. Now, to summarize the study, all of the study, basically, this is not a revolutionary study such as creating noise into electricity and so on. However, what the researcher aims for this study is to be able to, well, the purpose of research is to improve quality life, the quality of life of human beings. This is what I deliberated. Uh, I would be waiting for your questions, and hopefully you will be able to answer all of your queries. That will be all. Thank you all for listening. Here are the references, and that is all. Thank you.